Gopher Coaches Show is presented by Window Concepts and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Now, it's the Gopher Coaches Show with Dawn Plitzerwhite and Ben Johnson.
Welcome into the Gopher Coaches Show. I'm Ahmad Hicks alongside men's head basketball coach Ben Johnson. No Justin Guard today, no player on the set today, but you know what? We have a lot to talk about. Last night, we're taping this on Friday afternoon. Huge win in overtime versus a ranked Michigan team. For those of you who didn't see what happened, let's give you a recap.
A three for the lead of the win. Wolf spinning, hanging, scoring with 7 seconds to go. Minnesota, no timeouts. Patterson bumped. We play on. It's Garcia. Lets it go for the win. Dawson Garcia. Bottom. Ball game. Gophers walk it off.
So, Coach, when you see that video, Dawson Garcia pulling up from the M right here, almost in St. Paul, what comes to mind this afternoon?
Probably that there's not a more deserving player on our team to be able to be in that moment and take that shot to win it. The effort that kid put in his entire career, but just what he means for this team, this university, this program, this state, there's no better person to be able to be in that moment.
I want to know what was going through your mind when that ball went through the basket, because you see Dawson Garcia, he just turns around and give you this cool untucked jersey like I'm that guy, and then you just see you, stoic look on your face, going to go shake hands with the opposing head coach. What was going through your mind?
Also, you want to watch your guys. I mean, you're watching them enjoy it, watching them celebrate it. You know, you got to have a little bit of sense of professionalism too. As the coach, you can't be out there running into the mosh pit. But it's more of just you know, savoring the moment, but watching your guys enjoy it and celebrate it for all the hard work that they put in for that game.
What does that ranked victory for you guys mean moving forward?
A lot. You know, I think first it just signifies that we have been getting better, and it's so hard for people to sometimes grasp that when you're not given the recognition or the win for your work and the strides that you're making as a team or as a player. And, you know, I think it just shows to our guys that they were doing the right things. You finally get the payout, so now you can flip it.
Right.
It's not, you know, a phantom thing. It's a reality, and they've proven that there's a new standard. And so now you want to push that. So it's a great thing now because you can use it as leverage. You know, we're ready to continue this, and we don't want it to be the highlight of the year. Can we build on that momentum and that win?
And talking about the standard of the season for you guys, 3 players last night showed up. Not only Dawson, but Mike Mitchell and Lakai Patterson. What does it mean to have all of those guys going for 20-plus points? Yeah,
phenomenal. You know, we've talked a lot all year as a team. You know, it's not just the Dawson Garcia show. And there's got to be different guys that can step up, especially offensively, and it was just a matter of time. You know, Mike, again, he's a really good player, so defenses are keyed in on him. So who can kind of help Mike and Dawson?
Right.
And you know, Lukai's always been a guy that's been so close to just breaking through. You know, has had a lot of games where he's had great shots, they just haven't fallen, but he hasn't wavered. He's been in the gym even more, and you know, he's a very capable scorer. And I think yesterday, he got the same looks they went in, and now his confidence was built, and he made some key plays down the stretch in crunch time. You know, he's kind of one of those players where the moment's never too big.
Right.
And it was great to just see those 3 guys all play well, and everybody else did. They contributed in different ways. It was a total team win, but for sure, when you can get 3 guys that can score 20 and put that kind of offensive pressure on the defense, it helps any team.
All right, well, after the game, we had to talk about those 3 guys that scored all of those points. Patterson and Garcia came to the podium. Check out what they had to say after that huge win over Michigan.
Just a lot of emotions, you know, just how bad we wanted to win, and, you know, seeing it come in a fashion like that, and, you know, Kai trusted me to knock down the shot. And really just, like I said, thankful for my teammates and God that I'm in that position. Not that I hit the shot, but just, you know, that I'm capable.
I know, you know, it's a long season still yet, but what does this mean for you and this team? You know, there's so many that were close and you finally got one.
Yeah, it means we got something to build off, so continue to build off of it, and we look forward to keeping this thing rolling.
Do you know how far back you were when you launched it like that?
Yeah, I didn't know initially, but I looked back and I was like, I think I was at the logo, but, you know, me and Coach Thor work on those, so.
For you, you know, just a guy that came back here and you know, cares so much about Minnesota program, you know, the season that you guys had is the one we wanted it so far, but does this show what, you know, it's capable of?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the crowd helped us out a lot tonight. You know, just how engaged they were down the stretch, and so big credit to them. And you know, that's the reason why you want to stay home and play, just because, you know, when the barn's got energy, it's up there with any arena. You know, I've been to some places.
Same thing for you, Lakai, just being able part of the win like this at home. You know, last second shot from Dawson. I mean, it doesn't get better.
No, especially, you know, when a guy from, you know, home does it. You know, he was he was calling my name from the inbounds line. So I was like, like, no, it was a big shot, you know, from a big time player, and you know, I'm just happy, you know, just to, you know, be home and, you know, really take all this in. You know, that's a big time win. It's probably one of the biggest wins in the last, you know, 7-8 years or something. But nah, just for him to, you know, he's been here 3 years, and you know, he deserved everything, you know, that God has coming for him. So I'm happy for him.
Okay, were you expecting to drop it back to him as the trailer on that, or were you still looking for more options?
I mean, initially I was going to just try to get to the cup, but like I said, you know, he wanted it, and I lined it up for him. Kind of put the ball in the right place for his hands, and you know, shit, he hit it. So, nah, you know, I trust him. You know, like he's my brother. So it was just, you know, no brainer for me.
You guys were in a situation with Ohio State where it was right there. How much was that on your mind? And feel like no matter what happened, you guys weren't gonna lose this one.
That one hurt. Maryland hurt. You know, I just, you know, credit this team for not, you know, giving up. And, you know, we talk about it every day. I just feel like it takes one just to, you know, get over a hump. Hopefully we can take this, you know, this good energy into Iowa and then come back and play Oregon pretty tough. So.
Speaking of not giving up, how has Coach Johnson continued to motivate you in different techniques? Because that's tough for you guys. You haven't given up all season any game.
He probably been the most positive person, man. Like, credits to him. You know, he just, you know, is just taking it day by day. You know, he could get after us, yell at us, scream at us, you know, stuff like that. But he's been cool and, you know, just been with us. You know, everybody been in a big circle, you know, like nothing comes out of this locker room. So we just been, you know, leaning on each other, you know, when we down, and you know, it obviously helped us today. So.
Dawson, how do you feel like he's instilled confidence in you guys, especially the younger guys?
Yeah, I feel like he's just instilled confidence by, you know, just kind of like what Kai was saying. Sometimes when, you know, stuff hits the fan a little bit throughout the season, there can be division between coaches and players, and it can kind of feel like two parts. But, you know, the coaching staff really has, you know, allowed themselves to, you know, just be a part of the team, really. And so everybody's fighting for each other every practice, every game. And so it's like we're really just like one big team. It's like, yeah, we got different roles, coaches, head coach, assistant coach, players, but it's really like we're all just fighting for each other.
When you see that joy on your player's face, and you see Patterson talk about just being in that moment, and Garcia saying that, I just told Patterson, get me the ball. Like, I was yelling his name the entire time, and as soon as I let it go, it was cash. Do you think that confidence will bleed over into other games for Garcia when you talk about shooting beyond the arc? Yeah,
no, I do. I think for our whole team, again, we were a pretty confident group, even with the record. I knew that they still had a belief to them. You know, you don't play the way we played at Maryland if you don't have a belief and a conviction to you. And so now I think it's just, again, it's stamped it. And now those guys can hold each other accountable with details, execution, that confidence that you have. I think roles a little bit, you become defined. Late game, you know, they know where we need to get the ball and who to get the ball to. And so it's a confidence builder, not just for Dawson, who made the shot, but it's for everybody, because everybody contributed to that game and everybody played a role and starred in their role. Right. And so now, how do we build on that with the confidence?
It's always good when players know their role. All right, one final topic on this buzzer beater. The last time the Gophers hit a buzzer beater, I just learned this before we started taping, back in '04. Can you tell us about that moment?
Yeah, I was told this morning, we played Georgia when I was here, and actually on that Georgia team was one of my future co-workers, Jonah Hayes. But yeah, we played Georgia here, who was ranked team really good, and Mike Bauer hit a top of the key three that I think hit the rim, bounced up, and rolled in to win it at the buzzer. And it was a huge win for us and a huge win for our program. So it was kind of cool to get the text this morning to say the last time we did it, I was on the court, you know, for both of those. So again, we got to get that barn magic going and continue to build on it.
Ben, speaking of that barn magic, there's a lot of scrutiny surrounding your job, this Gophers team, the outlook of the team this year. What does a win like that do for your confidence as a coach, or does it do anything when we're talking about blocking out the naysayers?
Yeah, nothing really, to be honest. You know, as a coach, you can only control so much, and you worry about one thing, and that's daily improvement of your team. You know, how can you make sure that we're trending in the right direction? Everything else, you know, it is what it is. I know if we do our job as a staff and the players are able to do their job and perform well, you know, things will take care of itself. But, you know, my confidence is through the roof as far as, you know, my abilities and what we're able to do here and what this team can do. My biggest focus now is how do we continue to get better? Like, again, this was a great highlight. But now the challenge is how do we build on it so that now we finish the back end of the season on a really high note.
All right, let's put a stamp on this topic here in that big win versus Michigan. What was the final thing you said to your team when you closed out that team huddle last night about moving forward?
It was just that. It was enjoy it. I'm one of those guys, we got 24 hours, enjoy it. Right. But now we should be hungrier, and now we got to grind even more. And so that'll be the challenge, and that'll be the fun part, to get back in the gym, because there should be a bounce in their step now. And again, how can we tighten up and get better from this and learn from this in a positive way?
All right, now we do have some other things that we want to talk about, but I'm going to save that for the other break. All positive right here, right now. But we'll talk about those other conference games that took place before the Michigan win. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. More Gopher Coaches Show with Ben Johnson coming your way.
Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show.
Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show. I'm Ahmad Hicks alongside men's head basketball coach Ben Johnson. So, Coach, huge win for your group the other day, taking down Michigan in overtime. But before that game, you guys suffered some pretty tough losses right before that. I want to talk about one game in particular, the Wisconsin game. It was a one-point game at halftime. You guys end up dropping that game by 21 points. What was the message to your team after that? I heard there was something about a team meeting afterward. What was said, and what do you think your team took from that moment?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously we played really well in the first half. Wisconsin's a very good team, and it's always hard to play there. There's the veteran group, and I just thought it was kind of self-inflicted in the second half where, you know, a couple of mistakes. It was the first time in a while where it led to a snowball, and that's not who we are. And so it was more of that, the message of, like, we got to maintain who we are through adversity and not let one negative play lead to 2, 3, and 4, because it was really uncharacteristic of us. And so I think our guys understood that that's what they were most disappointed in, is they knew that we were obviously good enough to compete in that game, and we allowed just simple plays to let snowball. And against a really good team, you can't do that. And so, you know, that ended up being what it was.
Coach, in a game like that, what can you do to help your team out? You guys went with about 6 to 7 minutes of game time where you only made 2 to 3 field goals. What are you doing as a coach to help your team out of that? Or is it just like, look, they just got to play through it sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes you do have to play through it, but, you know, in timeouts especially, you're trying to talk to them about, all right, how can we simplify the game right now? Let's worry about this 4-minute segment. And in that, here's what we need to get done. We need to get, whether it's more intensity, we need to change up our defensive coverages or be better on our rotations. You talk about offensively, just taking a deep breath, having poise, talk about the type of shots that you want to get. Basically getting back to what we did the first half. I mean, it's that simple. Like, why did we get away from, and what got us away from what we did the first 20 minutes? Let's be a mature team and somehow find a way to fight and get that back.
That overtime win versus Michigan wasn't the only overtime game you guys have had this season. What was the difference between that Michigan game and the Ohio State game in your eyes?
I think our guys' determination at the end to finish it out. The Ohio State game, you know, you felt like you had it, and we weren't able to close for different reasons. And we learned from it. I think that's the biggest thing, is you learn from the loss. And what we learned was, all right, the intensity level, the details, the concentration, free throws, not turning the ball over, defensive adjustments. They remembered all of that and implemented it the other night. And so I think, you know, you're able to fall back on those experiences where, hey, fellas, we've been here, right? We know what this feels like. We're not tight. We're poised. We're going to make good decisions. We're going to learn from the last one, take that calm, deep breath. When you've been in situations like that and having those experiences, it does help you the second or third time you have to go through it. And again, I'm just proud that our guys took that learning experience and was able to apply it.
Coach, who's that one player on your team that you're most proud of for taking that learning moment that you're talking about and applying it? Maybe not in the stat sheet or the box score, but in different ways that show up and help you guys out.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know, I think in different ways. You know, Femi, from probably a vocal leadership standpoint, he's got more of a voice now, which is great for us and great for our team. That's one of his strengths. Early in the year, sometimes for new guys, it is hard to outwardly have that voice because you're still trying to find your way a little bit. But his voice and his presence yesterday, it kind of almost like wills the toughness into a team, wills the accountability. You know, Lukai Patterson just, you know, implementing his will on the game to make a big play or a big shot, make something out of nothing sometimes. But even him visually, he had that look of like, we're not losing this game.
Right.
And that carries over, and that snowballs to everybody on the team. So I think everybody, it was a total team win. Everybody, you know, had their footprint on that game. But I think you see how those two guys specifically with just their body language, and you could just see it on their face, the will to win, and that just spread throughout the team.
All right, well, that win yesterday had everyone talking on social media, on ESPN. One way to keep everybody talking is to keep winning, and Coach Johnson knows just about that. We're going to talk about the upcoming conference slate on the other side of the break. We'll see you all in a couple of minutes.
Watching the Gopher Coaches Show.
Yeah, we're rising up. Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show inside Williams Arena. I'm Ahmad Hicks alongside men's head basketball coach Ben Johnson. So, Coach, big win versus Michigan. Now you got to run that back. You got to go and get some more. So you got a crosstown rival coming up in Iowa. What do you say about your team and about this rivalry game and what it means to the University of Minnesota?
It's another great opportunity. You know, Iowa's playing really good basketball. I think the Michigan game can help us a little bit in terms of just the pace. You know, they're a team that's really explosive, just like Iowa. You know, they want to score in the 80s, can score in the 90s if you don't guard them right. So we need to apply a lot of the stuff we did versus Michigan with our mentality. But it's a tough place to play. They do have that unique style. We got to make sure that pace is right for us. But hopefully the confidence now, it needs to travel.
Right.
You played well versus Maryland. That road toughness, that needs to travel as well as the Michigan confidence.
So outside of that game, you have a couple ranked games in the month of January to close out, taking on Oregon, Michigan State. What better time to take on ranked teams than after a win versus Michigan? Don't you agree?
I just think it all solidifies what we're capable of doing when we're playing at our best. And, you know, guys now understand the feeling of winning versus a ranked team or versus any opponent in our league.
Right.
Hopefully they want that feeling again. It's contagious. Like, winning is fun. Everyone enjoys winning. And so being able to bottle it up and try to work hard to get that feeling back, I think is a big motivator.
Coach, final question that I have for you on this show. Do you have to remind your team about the fact that there's no automatic bid for the Big Ten tournament and that you have to win in order to get there?
You know, we haven't really talked much about that. I'm a believer in, you know, obviously there is that, but more of you got to win anyways.
Right.
So that's the bottom line. That's out there. That's the rule. But also it's kind of irrelevant because if you don't win, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So every game's the Super Bowl, regardless. I don't want our guys thinking like that. I want our guys thinking that every game's an opportunity, and it's our job to try to go out there and compete and win every single game. If you do that and have that urgency and that mindset, I think that kind of hopefully takes care of the rest.
Well, next big game, Super Bowl, Tuesday versus Iowa. That's the day that you guys will be watching this show. For Coach Ben Johnson, I'm Ahmad Hicks. We'll see you all next week.